Here we are, page 48. I don't know whether you went on the full journey with us or not, but we are at page 48. So we are beginning now again with what's Black love got to do with it. We're still talking about it, and we are now coming to an African context for Black couples. Do you have the resource? Did you download it?
If not, go ahead and please visit webuildlegacy.com and download your copy, your free resource, What's Black Love Got to Do with It? And as you know, we say everything. So we thank you guys for joining us on another live, well, maybe not live, but intriguing conversation on what's Black love got to do with
Absolutely. And now we're here to this African context about Black couples. And so this is exciting, and I'm excited about it because we've dismantled some things.
Yeah,
I'm sure. And I'm telling y'all, when I go back and look at those videos, I'm expecting to see yays or what you talking about, Willis, whatever works for you.
Right.
Okay.
Should encourage you to push the like button. That's right.
Let us know what you think. Is it resonating with you?
Mm-hmm.
Because now we're in the space where we've questioned everything or a lot of things and a lot of these contradictions. And so now we want to start putting some pieces back together again. And that's what this is. So it's an African context for Black couples. Listen up. An African context for Black couples. For an African context regarding gender roles, I looked back toward the cradle of humanity and civilization, to Africa itself. While researching gender roles for African Americans, I realized that if our ancestors brought indigenous practices of childbirth, agriculture, and healing that could be traced back to the continent, surely there were other dynamics that could be seen about romantic partnerships between men and women as well. I decided to look for women in historical contexts and observe how they were positioned in leadership. Growing up in a Christian home, I wanted to look at pre-colonial Christianity in Africa as well and consider how it developed among Africans. While many begin their exploration of Africa in antiquity in Kemet or Egypt, I wanted to avoid the controversies about the ethnicity of pharaohs that are still being debated and look a little further south to Ethiopia and Nubia. I found Ethiopia and Nubia to offer very useful examples of African women in leadership and connections to Judaism and Christianity as well. This is not an exhaustive review, but it is intended to provide some context for your consideration and later research if you desire. So this gets really fun for me. I really enjoy all of this. And in the actual resource, you can click the links, you can look and follow up with whatever. I am not an expert in all of this, but I do know, and I do know how to look for things, how to research things, and how to find resources. And so I tried to do that. But
this was precious what you did, because when I heard you read this, my thought is that we all have our ways in going back, Sankofa, and retrieving those things which were lost, stolen, forgotten. And for you to share, your process and how you went back was very appreciative, especially how you start out by drawing a narrative from the midwives here in America, when there were situations where, our ancestors who were here and enslaved were having babies, in situations that may not have, in today's standard, been the right situation to have babies. Our babies weren't dying.
No.
Our midwives were coming forward and had
we weren't dying like this stuff going on now, and moms and babies. I mean, that happened
immediately when we started being more in the Western system.
Exactly. And the fact that you brought that out, you were like, okay, now if our midwives were able to bring forth birth in those particular situations, and our babies will come out and being healthy and were still growing and weren't dying, then there's situations where I can actually go back and even draw more information from our ancestry, not only here in America, but even going back to the continent, to Africa, to draw a context is to actually help me understand the power structures from my ancestors and how they worked. And then on top of that, you could have went to some of the great kings of Shaka Zulu and all these things.
I could have gone down
You could have
to
went that
South
road,
Africa.
and
I could have gone talked about Queen and thing. I could have done all that. I'm just setting you up. And,
I appreciate the fact that you chose to go the route of picking and looking at some of those ideas where women were actually not only just co-regents, but actually in places of power where they were ruling armies and ruling lands in dominance in such a way where they were prosperous nations. And we deal with that so much in the Western world, but that wasn't a problem as we're about to unfold in Africa.
Exactly.
In parts of Africa, I mean, like I said, there's so much uh, beautiful.
And let me say, this is not even an assertion like about the babies. It's not like there was never any death or never a time a mother didn't make it. Or never. There's no point of perfection. But to hold Western culture up as the pinnacle,
right,
and
so
the height of civilization, and to have our relationships not be able to function under these things, to know, like we're gonna hear in a little bit, that there were co-regents and others, and that there were systems and ways that happened, but for us to be striving so much to live under this Western European Eurocentric way and watching it not be successful for us.
Yeah, I was just saying, if the Western way and medicine and birth practices in the Western world today were something that we could count on, then we wouldn't have many moms or babies in Black culture that were suffering and going through these traumatic situations. Same with marriages.
Exactly.
If Christianity or other religions were answering the call, then we wouldn't have. Why are the divorces happening just as much in other places of religion as it is outside of religion? And so
I believe there's some cultural things that we have ignored.
Thank you.
I don't think everything is about what religion you are. Some religions don't even allow for divorce.
Exactly. And
so it's us embracing that cultural part of us. That to me, and embracing Africa is what we're encouraging you to do. So we're excited.
Yes.
And we cannot wait. We just we're gonna get to it. I on here, you should prepare yourself. Yeah, I talk about some of these queens, but their names, oh my goodness, I did the best I could. So we'll see you. And just get yourself, get your heart and mind ready. Continue to stay open, okay?
That's right. And so we do, again, after each and every talk, we want to make sure that we encourage you guys to visit webuildlegacy.com so you can download your free resource.
And also go look at the other resources that we have. Look at the resources that we have. We have Maximizing the Connection. We have Power Couple Mentoring. We have other resources, and we have We Build Legacy freebies. So check all of those things out, all right? And we will see you in a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit more about Africa.